Hello, my name is Matt, and welcome to this first impressions review of Warcraft Remastered, which just shadow dropped yesterday for the 30th anniversary of Warcraft. So, if you buy the Warcraft Battle Chest right now, you will get access to the original Warcraft Orcs and Humans for DOS, completely unchanged, as well as the brand new Warcraft Remastered, which has a lot of major changes, both good and bad. I'll give you my impressions. And Warcraft 2, the original Battle.net edition for Windows, that was released way back in the late 90s, and this new Warcraft 2 Remastered, which follows a similar trend to the Warcraft 1 Remastered. And finally, Warcraft 3 Reforged has a new major update, which I won't be going into right now. So let's kick things off with Warcraft 1 Remastered. Just changing over here, bear with me.
In the age of chaos, two factions battled for dominance.
There we go. So you can see here there is a... this leaves a kind of a bad taste in my mouth. A pretty nasty AI upscaling. You can see it just doesn't look very good. The trees, the castle, pretty low effort on that one, I think. But let's just get straight into the game. Skipping past that, because I actually really like most of what's going on here in this remaster. I'll have some pretty negative things to say about the menus and things going into it, but as we get into the game, you'll see that I actually quite enjoy it. So here's the new menu system. We can kick things off by going into the human campaign, and there's this new map selection screen here, which is kind of interesting because it's the first time we've had names for some of these levels, and you can see Westfall. I don't believe Westfall actually appeared anywhere on the original Warcraft map. It was added in World of Warcraft. So there's a couple of nods to that. But skipping past that, you can see here is the new briefing screen. And this is kind of one of my disappointments. You can see it's a static image. In the original game, these two guys were kind of munching food and there was a fire burning in the background. So they've rebuilt all of the menus and briefing screens and things. And it's also missing the map screen. It would have this zoom into the 3D map, which looked really nice. So kind of disappointing, but here we are in the actual game, and I think this looks fantastic. They've basically upgraded the graphics, new hand-drawn art sprites, using the original audio, but you can see the graphics have been updated to look kind of more like Warcraft 2. And once we get into Warcraft 2, you'll see that the two games have a bit of a consistent style to them now. The new UI looks great, this new side panel here, and we also have tooltips on everything, which explain what things do. So if I click on here, it explains what the peasant does. The original game never actually told you what anything did. You just had to build it and find out. So there are some really nice, beyond the graphics, there are some really nice quality of life improvements here. You'll note that I can bandbox select units. I can right-click to issue move orders. You could not do that in the original. You literally had to select units and go M-click, select M-click, and you can only select up to 4 units. Now, something that may be controversial here is that this game now allows you to select 12 units, so it's pushing past that original limitation of just 4. I'll just do a little bit of a play here, but I'm not going to play through the whole level. This plays just like the original game. There are no gameplay changes apart from that 12 unit selection, but it feels so good to play. It has hotkeys. You can see I can double-click footmen to select all the footmen, Control 1, make a hotkey group. So it's got most of the things that you would expect from a modern real-time strategy game. It doesn't have... It's missing things like queuing and rally points and some of the more advanced features, but it's at least at parity with the Warcraft 2 Battle.net edition. And you can see we've got mining gold. The other big kind of shiny thing is that I can hit F5 or I can just tap this button here to switch to the classic graphics, and there you can see what Warcraft 1 always used to look like with this extremely low resolution art, and I can just switch back to the nice, beautiful new art. I think the art style kind of has to grow on you a little bit. It certainly looks very different to what I imagine this game to be, but I love that you can just switch freely back and forth between them. I don't really like how high resolution the text is in this mode. You can see that they're still using the new UI layered on top. It still has those new tooltips in very high resolution. But it more or less captures the feel of the original game. And if you really wanted to, you could always play the original DOS game that's included with this pack as well. Now, just going over the options quickly, you can here behind me there is the original music has been remastered. It sounds beautiful. It's not just they've just taken the MIDI and rendered it. They have added some new elements I've managed to hear. But you can switch over into, there we go, the classic ad-lib version of the sound that you would have heard in the original game. And we also have some nice control over, like, we can change the UI size to be however we like here, or we can just set it to the default. We have health bars, so if we get into combat, let's not bother to find any orcs, but I'll just... Sorry, dude, just for showing, you can see that the health bars show up now. Some other really good quality of life improvements that actually make it quite a lot easier to play this game. That's more or less all that we have by way of options. And the last thing that I'll show is just that we have the custom games, as we always used to have. Lots of maps here, and as always, you can choose your starting army. I managed to play a custom game, and it worked fine just before. There is one other pretty large disappointment, and that is there is no multiplayer. Multiplayer has been completely removed from this version of the game, which is kind of understandable because the original multiplayer did require that you have this either a modem or a serial cable. It was getting dated, but you can still to this day play multiplayer using DOSBox. It's just a bit hard to set up. I would have liked to see, this is a great opportunity to actually add BattleNet support and have matchmaking in this game for the first time. I would love to go on BattleNet and find other people willing to play against me in a one-on-one in what is the literally first real-time strategy game with multiplayer. So, kind of disappointing, but that's not to be. Let's switch into Warcraft 2 now. The game has some really long load times, particularly Warcraft 2. It's a little bit long. So this is Warcraft 2 Remastered. You can see very similar layout. They've redone all the menus. This one does have multiplayer, which I'll briefly touch on, but let's just jump into the campaign. We have the Tides of Darkness and the expansion pack Beyond the Dark Portal, and we can choose those campaigns. And we have, again, all the maps available. Let's just get started on... let's do Orc this time. Got our map screen updated. This one feels a lot more like the original. Like there's nothing missing from this experience. Again, the music has been remastered. The music and voices sound incredible. Let's just skip over that. Here we are in Warcraft 2, and I gotta say, this looks absolutely beautiful. Like, unlike Warcraft 1, where you look at it and you go, oh yeah, that is a new art style. Like, this looks exactly to my mind how Warcraft 2 looked. Like, I looked at this and I was like, has this been remastered at all? Let me just tap F5 to show you. Oh yes, it absolutely has. This is what Warcraft 2 used to look like, and this is what it looks like now. Exactly the way that I remember, except in really high resolution, lovely, colorful art. They've really done a great job on the artwork here. So, as I said, some of those disappointments from Warcraft 1 apply here as well, but the gameplay, where it matters, has been really quite improved. Or at least, brought up to what I would expect Warcraft 2 to feel like in a remaster in 2024. I'll briefly go over some of these options again. We have, again with the music, we can go back to the classic. Now this is an interesting one because this is the ad-lib version of the classic music. Warcraft 2 did have ad-lib if you didn't have a working sound card, I guess, but pretty much everyone would have played with the CD-ROM music, which sounded a lot more like this. So the remastered music actually sounds pretty close to what the original music sounded like in this instance. And we also have just a few preferences here. Again, you can change the UI scale, or you can just leave it on the default. I have heard that... So Warcraft 2 has this interesting thing where you can turn off Fog of War. Did that even do anything? Oh, right. Turning off Fog of War in Warcraft 2 doesn't mean... It just means that once you explore the map, it remains explored forever. see how that map remains explored. Again, you've got health bars, you've got a few quality of life improvements. Warcraft 2 didn't need as much work as Warcraft 1 on the quality of life department, but having things like health bars is nice. We already had things like hotkey groups and things from the Battle.net edition. Whoops. But I've been hearing a few reports on the forums that this Fog of War setting applies in multiplayer, which is a bug. You should not be able to turn off Fog of War in multiplayer. It would be cheating. And if we quickly go to the menu and have a look, we can do custom scenarios. We've got sort of looks like a handpicked selection of maps here, and then we have custom scenarios with all the other maps that were included in Battle.net edition, and this basically works as expected. And we also have multiplayer where we can jump on, and weirdly this does not look like it's using Battle.net. This is a different lobby-based system to what we had in the Warcraft 2 Battle.net edition, and I think that they are incompatible. So here, there's only 2 games available right now. I've only seen a couple of games at any given time, but there will be some multiplayer community for some time, I would imagine. And that's basically it, Warcraft 2 Remastered. So the closing thoughts are, I think these are, it's cool that they exist. There are some unnecessary changes, like re-implementing all the menus seems unnecessary to me, especially if it means getting rid of some of those nice briefing room scenes in Warcraft 1. And also when you complete a mission, there used to be little cutscenes, little 3D animated cutscenes at the end that have gone away, which is disappointing. And the AI upscaling on the cutscenes isn't great. There's some jank with mouse cursor movement jittering around the screen and a few things that maybe could be ironed out. But overall, the core gameplay is fantastic. That we have this modernized version of particularly Warcraft 1 with all of those quality of life improvements, being able to right click, do hotkey groups, selecting more than 4 units. It's cool that this exists. So thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you later.